good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, good day. Welcome to the Heart of the Gala podcast. I'm Bobby D.
And I am Erin.
And we have a very, very special guest with us today, one of our bestest friends in the world.
Drumroll.
The author, the one who wrote the book on fundraising auctions, the one and the only
Kelly Russell.
Kelly Russell. Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
Hello. Hi, friends. How are you?
Oh, my gosh. You are the fabulous fundraiser.
We're very excited to see you and have you here today with us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me on your podcast. This is very exciting.
Well, we've been talking about this podcast, I think, kind of mid-pandemic. We're like, we got to do a thing, and then now here we are 3 years later, and it finally happened.
Finally figured out how to use microphones.
And, you know, the good news is it's lucky for everyone else because I know how much wonderful information the two of you have to share. So, this is great. I'm glad you are here doing this because you're going to give some awesome gems to people and it's going to be great.
Did she just say we were full of it?
No, she's full of good things, only good things.
I think so. I think it's all right. That's right. Okay. So Kelly, give us some background. Where in the world are you right now? What the world is going on? Give us the update.
There's all sorts of things going on, but I am in West Lafayette, Indiana. I know you're probably thinking, what are you doing there? You were in Portland before, but
yeah.
I used to live in Portland. And then during the pandemic, as we all did, started talking to a wall a lot, right? As we're doing all of our virtual events. Yes. Someone once told me to go try and talk to a wall. And I was like, I think I can handle it. And I learned I could. It was fun. So we did all those fun virtual events and everything. And my husband and I decided it was time for us to move back to our hometown so we could be around all of our family, our nieces and nephews and everything. So now I have the joy of traveling. First of all, I love to travel. I should preface it that way because I have the joy of traveling to Portland and do a lot of events there still, but I also get to go to so many other places because during the pandemic, like the world opened up, right? In a different way. I mean, it shut down, but it opened up, right? So got to meet a lot of clients from all over and it was really fun. So now I get to travel and see them and it's quite exciting.
Yeah, and you were kind of everywhere. You were like you were in Portland, and then you were in San Diego, and then there was like another thing, and I'm like, you were everywhere.
I literally just did 5 events in about 6 days, so I've been like bebopping around the country. I had a couple.
In how many different states?
Well, let's see. There was California, there was Oregon, and Indiana. So 3 at least, yeah, minimum.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Ouch, are your arms tired?
Yeah, super sore.
Well, so tell us, how are how is the event world trending now? Galas, auctions, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing people, honestly, the people who do the homework, right? It always comes down to the people who do the homework. If you're listening to your fundraising and strategic consultants, you can be very, very, very successful. And that's what I'm seeing right now.
But I just have to I'm going to pause here. If anybody is not listening to the rest of the podcast or they get bored, I just need you to rewind and re-listen to what Kelly just said, because that is the most important thing that I feel like gets very skipped, especially at my events right now. A lot of events are sort of just riding on a wave and they're like not doing the work. So that if you don't continue with the podcast, although you should, re-listen to that sentence because that is the key.
Say it again, Kelly.
Truthfully is the key. The people who are doing their homework and listening to their strategic consultants are being very successful right now. And that's in California, that's in Oregon, that's in Indiana. The folks who put in the time, the energy, and the effort are seeing massive returns, and it's great. So if you're having trouble or you're struggling with your fundraising, you need to talk to the experts. So talk to Bobby D and Erin, talk to me, you can talk to a whole bunch of different people, but literally talk to the experts. We have our finger on the pulse of what's going on. Yeah. We know exactly what's happening. We're traveling all over. We're seeing how it works in different areas. And, it's super successful right now when you put in the time, energy, and effort.
When you do the work.
Yeah.
So, Erin, you were a big, proponent for different markets and identifying, which markets different auctioneers fit within. And Kelly, you were obviously in 3-4 major different markets like that. How do you see the differences between like a Indiana event and a Southern California event or a Northern California event?
Yeah, and I get to go to Washington, D.C. next. I'm really excited. I'm going all over the place, right? And I'm finding it really, every market is a little bit different. Okay. So like as fundraisers, we have to be the chameleon, right? We have to be the chameleon. We have to understand the market, and we have to cater to the people who are in front of us. So when you can be that chameleon, and when you can serve the audience in the way that is most effective for them, that's where success comes from too. So not only it's your fundraising, strategic consultation, and it's also the presentation too. So you have to find an ambassador. You have to find someone who can speak your language and your language of all of your guests. Is this something you've mentioned before, Erin?
Maybe a few times. Maybe a few times. Look, I mean, like, I appreciate that you can travel and do these events, but I am also sure that you, because I know you, although I don't know if others do, that you know who you can work with.
Yes.
Just because you can travel to different areas doesn't mean you can work with every event.
Correct.
Or every organization, because I don't think that you're, and I love you very much, an expert in every different type of organization.
I am not.
And when you work with the ones that you know how to work with, that's where the gold is. And I'm sure if I know, you know, if somebody comes across your path that's not your perfect client, you know who to refer them to.
That's
and
correct.
that's what I think is a huge thing. So while maybe you can travel and do different areas and different markets, you also have to stay within like your dream, your scope, and what you can speak the language of.
Correct. And that goes back to that strategic consulting.
It does.
If you have a strategic consultant, they can also say, I'm not your ideal auctioneer. I can coach you, but you know who's going to be the best person to represent you on stage is this fine person over here. So there are opportunities, of course, where, you know, there are opportunities that come up and I go, oh gosh, I'd love to do that event, have a conversation. And I go, ooh, you know what? I'm not the right person for this event, but I know who would be great for this organization. And I can pass that organization to someone who is going to speak as an ambassador, who is going to be able to connect with that audience in a better way than I ever will. So, you know, it's so important. It is so important to get the right person on the stage as well.
Yeah, and it's
for sure.
Is pulling that ego aside. Like that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
And I mean, yeah, we like to be in the spotlight. We like to be behind the microphone.
What?
We like to do those things, but then it's also bigger than that. It's not about us in the spotlight and on the stage. It's the nonprofit, it's the mission, it's the donors, having them in the spotlight, and we get to kind of be that conduit or that connector within that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you just said, we're not the right people for it, but then there's the ones that you make that direct connection with and you are the right person for it. I had one of those on Saturday night and it was raining money. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that, so money. Bobby had a call one day with a client that he would have been fantastic at the event. It really would have been a really good event. And I know that he would have done a good job there, but that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted me. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, cool, perfect. I'm off that night. I can go do something else. I can go do what I got to do. And there was no ego in it. It was like, you know what? This is good. And end of the day, you would have done a good job, but I did a better job.
Yes, you did.
Because of that fit and that.
Who they wanted.
Right? Like,
and you were who they wanted.
Exactly. Well, that's why you know, I'm not saying like I did better than he would have done, but because it was a better fit and they knew what was a better fit. And all right, well, I'm better. But no, I'm not. There are events where we literally will just be like, yeah, that's it. That's definitely your realm. You're going to, you know, kick it out of the park for that one, or I'm going to. But I remember him pitching this client. So I get this call and they're like, okay, you know, you're doing this deal. And I was like, I don't even know who this client is. And Bobby's like, oh, wait, I pitched this one. I talked to them for you and they want you and you're going to do this great job. And I love them. Okay, I will just plug this.
And you crushed it.
Wait, so this is the one. I hope you saw my Instagram post where they made me a custom Home Depot vest. They made me an apron.
Oh, that's so great.
You look at my Instagram. They blinged it out and wrote money maker on it. I had to give it back because I don't technically work for Home Depot, but I represented them that night. Actually, what I would say is that they sponsored the event, so they got to sponsor the auctioneer.
That's awesome.
That's
so
a great
cool.
way to pay the auctioneer.
Cool.
That is so fun.
Anyway,
you can say you've been sponsored by Home Depot. That's pretty fun.
There you go. So Kelly, so if you could wave a magic wand, or a client could wave a magic wand, and you be that kind of that perfect entity for organizations, like which organizations do you match best with? Like what's your affinity projects?
Well, here's the thing. I have a background in theater, so I love the arts. And I don't know if you all know that. I have a background in theater. I used to also sing opera. Fun facts. So they're learning things today, friends. But
so cool.
For years, and I had no idea about that. Like 10 years. Oh my God.
Because I don't tell people about that. It's a secret. It's a secret. But no, it's true. I had a background in music and theater. So I started out with a degree in music, and that I think is where, funny enough, music and theater combined together make for a great auctioneer.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It blends really well. But I was actually a backstage technician, and I graduated with a degree in lighting design, sound, and all that good stuff. So technical theater is my background. So so it's very funny when I work with on site with folks. I have a great time with that. But I love the arts. I love the arts. I love everything about the arts. And now you understand why I love those projects, for one, but I also like really progressive organizations. I like organizations that are out to make the world a better place. And, one of the things I say is the work I do is powerful fundraising for positive change. And I think that it's so important because when it comes down to it, we all want the world to be a better place. So as long as people are doing things to help other humans in the world, I can get behind that. I can also learn about the organizations. I find that there are a lot of them that are very similar. And, sometimes we partner them together for things too, because we're like, hey, you two should know each other. But yeah, really what it comes down to is I like progressive organizations. I like to support, I do a lot of work with the LGBTQ plus community. I do a lot of work with like ACLU. I try and help those kinds of groups as often as possible. I really want to see positive change in the world. And so maybe it's a little selfish. I don't know. I like the world to be a better place. So I'll help with that.
That's why we all got into fundraising. That is why I literally, every fundraiser got into fundraising. I don't care who you are. Nobody gets into it to be a millionaire. You all get into it because you want a better world.
That's right.
Yep. And that's the thing. People think, oh, you're going to make millions of dollars. No, I make millions of dollars for you, the organization.
Oh yeah.
I'm not making $1 million. I'm making $1 million for you because I care about your work.
But same as the development team. The development team's not raking in millions. They are doing the work to make the money for the world changers.
And I think that's the key right there is being able to apply that passion and that love towards, something like you said, can change the world. I mean, yes, we're helping organizations raise a lot of money, and yes, we're able to have a great lifestyle and support our kids and all the things, but yeah, we're rich with love within this. Right.
I think sometimes karma, big karma, good karma. Yeah. I think sometimes people think that, auctioneers, you hear about like, in the 7 habits, it's like auctioneers have lots of money. It's not quite that when you're in the benefit world. Because did you see that in that book? I laughed when I read it. I was like,
no, actually I did. Yeah. The Millionaire Next Door or something like that.
Maybe it was that one. Maybe it was The Millionaire Next Door. Yeah, that's what it was. You're right.
I mean, it is not fair that they did write the song and say auctioneers have to buy an airplane. So.
But those are the guys that are selling the dump trucks.
Yeah. It's the cars sometimes.
Heavy machinery.
Yeah.
Those guys who are like
real estate.
Yes.
Yeah. Those.
Maybe we got into the wrong business.
Different breed.
Okay, let's talk about that.
No, we got in the right business. We got in the right business
because we're not in it for the money. I mean, look, we have to support ourselves and support our businesses and support our teams. It's at the end of the day, it's the karma. It's the reason that we all stand up there on that stage and pour our hearts out on that stage. And I think that is the most transparent thing. And I think that's a big thing that organizations need, is the transparency with their guests. And when you've got somebody up there that is literally a bleeding heart, like we all, like we are, I can't say we all are, but definitely we are, the three of us, it's very transparent that like we're here for the same reason. So we believe the world can and should be a better place.
I mean, you can always get someone to come in and do your auction for, a tiny fee, but you're probably going to lose money because, when you have that connection, human to human connection, I mean, we all crave connection. Everyone craves connection. Humans crave connection. So it is so important to have that on your stage and that representation on your stage. You have to have people who care, because if you don't have that authenticity coming through on your stage, forget it. You're not going to make the money that you want to make. So you really do need that ambassador.
Yeah. Like if they don't care, I don't care, and we're not going to raise any money. Yeah.
Can we also talk about how, like, don't you feed off of your audience? Because I know I do. Whatever energy my audience is giving me, I'm giving that energy right back to them. So, like, if people are just not into it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try really hard. I'm trying really hard, and I'm like, okay, no one really cares here. So, all right, let's get this thing done. And it just isn't the same. And that, like, was happening years and years ago. But now that I realized that that was me taking on a wrong event. And when I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, this isn't my jam. I need to be in front of people who believe the same things I do. Because then I can be passionate with them. They respond to me in a different way. And I get to give that love right back from the stage.
Absolutely. That's what was so hard for virtual for me.
It was tough.
Yeah. But I have a sticker on my computer that says, I match energy, so choose wisely.
Yeah. That's a good sticker.
Well, and that was something I was thinking about the other day, is that yes, we match energies in the room, but also have the abilities to steer energies, motivate energies.
Yep.
Put focus upon things that are like actually mattering, and noticing what is the audience responding to? Are they responding to statistics? Are they responding to stories? Are they responding to something? I mean,
well, and then, so I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, but like, we just had, I had an event where I was opening, I was emceeing, so I got a big energy. The room was like, yes. And then this person got up and was like, blah, 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 blah. Oh. And now my job became 10 times harder because I now had to re-push us back up again. And and I knew I could do it because the energy had been there before. So I knew that it was possible, but it took me a lot longer and harder to get back up there because of that integration. So there is we feed off of them, but then there's also like, we know how to engage them and how to push them and how they can have a great event.
I love when people come up at the end of an event and they say, wow, you were so good. I say, you fuel me. That's how it's so great. You fuel me. And they go, okay, but really you were good. And I go, okay, thank you. But you fuel me. And also thanks for supporting. So
I tell them,
it's really about.
I say, thank you for making me look good.
Yeah.
Especially my bidders.
I can't do it without you putting your hand in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
So Kelly, a successful event, how do you know that an event was a success? I mean, besides the dollars that were raised and whatnot, but there's other things that make an event successful. What are those things that you stand back at the end of the night and things are happening and you're like, oh yeah, that was good. What are you seeing?
Well, okay. Yes, money is great. We always like that. Awareness is a really important piece of events as well. But I think that it's really important. And I think you've probably heard the phrase, people remember how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And if the feeling of the event is successful and the feeling is, wow, that was fun, we had a good time, I want to come back again, that is a successful event. When your donors are ready to return on event night next year, they're ready to come back already. I think that's a really solid measure of success because it means that you spoke to their heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it feels good. And they kind of get addicted to it. They're like, yeah, I want to come back. I want to feel that again. Yeah. Give me some more.
Get bit by that auction bug.
All right. Here's my hard question.
Okay.
How many live auction items?
It's in the book. Read the book right there. She wrote the book on fundraising auctions.
Well, I got her on the podcast right now. I have her in the hot spot right now. People ask me this question all the time. I always have a very different answer.
Okay, look, I have a sweet spot of number of items, and it is fully dependent on your event as well. But my sweet spot is a range, and it is between 6 and maybe 12.
Wow.
6 to 12 for a live auction. I wouldn't go higher than 12, but sometimes people, I push people 6 to 8 as much as possible. But if you have a whole bunch, it has to be really good. It has to be a really good item.
What makes a really good item?
Well, because you're going to spend 3 minutes on it, and it's going to take up time in your event before maybe you even get to your appeal or other pieces. So I say 6 to 12 is the magic range. I like closer to 6, but a good item is going to be fully dependent on your crowd. If you've got a bunch of interest, then it's a good item. And the best way to do that is to survey your friends and folks who are coming to the event. Friends,
you can ask them beforehand.
What's that?
You can ask them beforehand?
Yeah, I know, really weird, right? You can just go up to them and be like, hey, are you interested in this package? And they can go, that doesn't look interesting at all. And you go, great, thank you. And then maybe the next person says, ooh, I love that. Either way, you're going to get a mix of answers and do like, 10 people. And if it's like 8 people like it, put it in your auction. It's probably a good cross section, right?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask
that was
people.
A good nugget. Good nugget.
This fun thing called asking people. I like
and having communication. Not assuming.
Okay. More hard questions. I'm going to power through and get some hard, put her on the hot seat.
Hot seats.
Do you have to have a live auction?
No, you don't. You don't. And you know what? Most people aren't anymore, which is interesting, which you all know.
Oh, I do know it. It was I just wanted to hear it from your perspective because look, you have a different brand and you travel in different places.
Yeah.
And I want to know different perspectives because just because it's what we are in our market, in our area, doesn't mean that it is for everything. So that's why I was asking.
4 of my last 5 events were appeal only.
That's 80%.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Can I
80%.
ask more hard questions?
Keep going.
I am on a roll here. What % of your audience participates in the appeal to make a successful event?
What % participates? Well, hopefully 100, but not everyone always gives, right? I find in appeal only events, traditionally, we have upwards of 95% participation.
Nicely done.
Nice.
So it's because we've primed them for, hey, by the way, you're coming to this event. Thank you for joining us. And if their table host has done their job, they're like, hey, you're coming to this event. I bought a table, give. and they handle that.
And by 95%, you mean 95% of the households, right? And household gift, not of individual gift.
I'm talking, 95% of what I call bid units. 95% of the checkbooks walking into your event are giving.
Beautiful.
Very, very few don't give. And it's usually in between 95 and 100%, if I'm being honest, because we like to go for 100% participation because it's a place where everyone can give in an appeal.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Everyone should play.
Yay.
Okay.
We're leaving no one out in that appeal.
No, everybody. That's like that's unity, right? Like that's you and I speak this very much. This is like, it's all about inclusion and everybody has a chance to be participating in that moment. So that's why I know it's a big thing for both of us, but
I'm glad you asked about the household thing. Cause I did have a group that was like, we had 500 people in the room and we only had 290 cards go up. And I was like, okay, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I was like, that's a good thing. And they were like,
more than 100%.
Well, that's the thing. They were like, not everyone gave. We didn't get 500 cards. And I was like, yeah, how many of those folks were married friends? Like how many were coupled? And it was like, oh, and they went back through and they looked and they were like, it was 100% participation. And I was like, lucky you, good job. Way to go.
Yeah.
You activated your audience to give. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love that so much. Yeah. That's so funny to like when they look at it and then they're, we all sit here like, whoa, 290, like that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they were like, what?
They just had confusion. And when I said, well, how many of those folks were married and gave as a couple? Oh, and they went back through it and they literally looked at every single bid number and they're like, oh, we get it now. And I was like, yeah, and I said, and are you so excited? Cause they were like, we only had 50% or a little over 50. And I was like, no, you had 100. And they went, oh, that's amazing. We did it. I was like, yes, celebrate that, please. That's incredible. So it was really fun.
That is really good.
It's really fun.
So what are some other things that we can do, or maybe one more suggestion that we can do to help a organization have a more successful paddle raise, fund a need, ask, whatever you ever want to call it. And like you said, preparing, have the hosts, kind of give that little elbow and be like, wink, wink, give. Yes, that's what you're coming for. What's another thing that you are seeing that's helping with the success leading into that philanthropic moment?
Like what should I do before the event?
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the event, well, obviously we all know, and I will share this with your lovely audience too. You have to have a good story. Storytelling is really, really, really super important.
So question, I have a hard question.
Ooh,
the story.
Questions.
So the story now, are you a fan of the like, whoa, sorry, it's like, this is going to like tug like really hard at the heartstrings? Or is it like kind of the roller coaster where it's now coming back up and it's like, oh, now it's hopeful and we're going to move towards this solution?
I like a hero's journey is what I like. I like the story of here's where I was and here's where I was headed. Like I was on this trajectory, but this organization helped me get to where I am now. And I like that, because what ends up happening is you're telling your story and you're on a trajectory, whether it be good, whether it be bad, whatever strikes that person's life. Usually it's not something great, which is why they're getting help from someone. So if that story, if it comes to a point where they can tell the story in a way that makes your organization look shiny without saying, this is my favorite part, without saying, here at the, organization, whatever the organization is, right? Here at this organization, we do, like, that's great. We can all hear that all day long. But when you're telling someone's story and you're hearing it, like the hero's journey of that story, and they're saying it from their own perspective, you are giving them power. Mm-hmm. It is so powerful to get the story from an individual and their own story in their own words. There is nothing worse than that. A lot of people tell me they don't want to exploit someone by getting them up there on the stage. And I'm like, you're not, you're empowering them. You are empowering them to share their story. And that's the piece that always gets me, because I when they say, oh, we're going to tell it for them. I watched a group recently. I was attending an auction, and I watched a group bring a family to the stage, and someone shared their entire story. And I was like, hand the microphone to them. Let them tell their own story. It'll be so much more powerful. And then they handed the microphone to them after they said everything. And they went, yeah, that's that pretty much sums it up. Thank you. And they handed the microphone back. And I was like, no, because it just
opportunity. Yeah,
it just didn't feel authentic. And
that actually feels exploitive.
Yeah, it did. And I was sitting there like drop jawed. I was like, oh, what is happening right now on the stage? Because it did. It felt like, well, they're right there. Why can't they tell me? Yeah. So I think it's so important for people to let it, empower your speaker. Don't think of it as an exploitive journey. It's empower them to share their journey, because when they do it, it is so much more powerful in the room. People feel really excited. And then, of course, if you can get them to walk up to the stage after, because I like, personally, again, let me just real quickly put a plug in for video. I love good video because it doesn't go on a tangent. It never runs long.
Ooh, that was my next question.
Static. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I like a good video. So put a video up there and share that journey, because you get the B-roll, you get, more for people to visually take in than just to sit there and listen to someone speak. So for me, I love that. But I do think it's really important to make sure that that person has a chance to come up on stage as well, because then that's the audience opportunity for applause, which in my world is just a gigantic hug from the audience, because they can't all go rush the stage and hug this human that they really want to give a giant hug to, right? So it's a moment, and it brings us all together, it brings us together closer in community. And I think it's so wonderful. So I'm a big fan of a solid video, and then bringing that person to the stage to share just the call to action.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay.
That's my plug there.
So now, speaking of plugs, well, let's just get right down to it. So this book, the Book on Fundraising Auctions.
Look, I have one.
You can get it right now. Link in bio.
Oh, so
link in bio. This is so fun. I love it too, because it's everything we do. We make it rain money, and we watch all the hands go in the air. It's very, very fun. This is my book. I called it the Book on Fundraising Auctions because the idea behind this particular book here is I wanted to give a resource to the community, really, and to everyone, especially for those folks who are starting out in fundraising. I think that there's a lot of things that are done in fundraising auctions that could be skipped, and you could be more successful. So, people get in the weeds a little bit with like certain pieces of the auction. I mean, I don't know how many people are doing dessert dashes and all that stuff. I mean, we have them occasionally now, but happens. It's not really what the focus of this is. It's more about the idea of what can you do to help bring people into your event, into your space. And maybe we're going to try and shave like a couple of years off the learning curve for those folks who are really new to this. So that's what this book is for me. I want to make sure that, there are certain things that you need to do. I'm a big fan of getting a fundraising consultant on your side. I'm a big fan of having a team of professionals help you. And honestly, if you're gonna make money, you have to spend money. You have to spend money to make money, friends. I know, Bobby.
This is the nonprofit industry. You can't make money.
Kelly, a couple of things here. I just want to say that one thing that I have noticed and have talked to my clients about is that everybody is getting paid somehow.
Yep. That's right.
So how are they getting paid? If they're not getting paid dollars from you and being hired by you, who's hiring them? Who's offsetting their expense? Is it the alcohol? Is it their own promotion? Like, where is their money coming from, and who is paying them? Because if you're not spending the money from yourselves, then somebody else is paying them.
That's right.
So that's where I look at it that way. And the other thing that you talked about and you mentioned is that I have to say, like, I hear this myself, but I have to let you know as well. You make it look easy.
Well, yeah, you're only up there for 15 minutes, and
right.
I know.
Not just but not just that. I mean, for other people coming into the industry, other professionals that are getting into the industry, and like you said, your book really, is helping guide these folks, because we have a lot of information inside of us. It's a little bit scary sometimes how much information we have, but we've been doing this for many years. And so
we're still young. Don't worry. We're still young.
But we have a lot of experience, and it's really hard to convey all of that with each client, because, you only have certain many hours that you spend with your clients. So when somebody sees what we do, they're like, oh, that seems easy. We make it look easy. We look like ducks, right? Like calm on the surface and pedaling like hell under the water. So like what you're saying here in this book is like really shaving a few years off of their learning curve. I love that, because it's not as easy as it looks.
Right. Well, and I want to let me expand on that a little bit, Aaron, because I feel like, there's that saying of, you're not paying me for the minutes that I'm doing the job, you're paying me for the years of experience I have. And I think that that's important to note here too, because we've seen a lot in the time that we've been on stage doing these events. So you can hire someone who's new and they're only going to charge you a tiny little fee. But when they do the event, it's a disservice to that person, and it's not fair to them as an organization to be telling them, well, I saw another person do it and they did it like this. They don't know. They haven't been through that situation maybe. So it's not really fair to hold them to such a high caliber when they've only been at this for maybe a year or two. They haven't seen as many situations as we have. So I think that there, again, as a little bit of, you get what you pay for. So you're paying for the experience, you're paying for the knowledge. We've gone to how many conferences, how many, continuing education opportunities. I mean, I don't think I could count those, because you and I have been to several of those, several hundred of them. It's a lot. And so it's really, truly unfair to look at a very new auctioneer and be like, well, I saw this other person do that the other day and it looked great and easy, and I don't understand why you couldn't do that. Well, they maybe haven't been in that situation before. We've been in a lot of situations, and even now, because we just inherently have been around long enough to know, oh, well, that's not working. How am I going to change that on the fly? And what am I going to do to change that on the fly? I can change things on the fly. I can shift something in the moment. Someone can come up to me and ask me something in the middle of the auction, and I can go, okay, and get back. Like, I can turn away from my mic and say, okay. And I can come back and present immediately what they just told me.
It's like a limo driver or a new driver, like somebody getting their driver's license, or a limo driver who's been doing it for years.
Or someone with their CDL driving a big semi.
Like the experience is out there. Like, if you know when to swerve and when to step on the gas and how to merge appropriately. I'm going to use this metaphor. I like it.
And dare I say pivot.
And you also know when you need a break and to just kind of take the next exit and be off the highway for a few minutes to,
Let's get the hell out of here.
You got this metaphor so much. This is so us. I love this just happened.
Come for a drive with Aaron, Kelly, and Bobby D.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Listeners, we're going on the road later, y'all. So no, I'm kidding.
Stay tuned for the tour. So, okay. So in the book, the book, being, I guess, kind of almost the recipe book, or kind of the foundation book for, like you said, people that are just getting into it. And, welcome to all of our new nonprofit friends that are joining us, because there's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of people that are coming into the business. And like you said, there's these standards that have been in place for many, many years, or the improvements of those standards, that it's good to catch someone up to speed. Now, is this book only for kind of a beginning organizer, fundraiser, someone, or is there some advanced techniques in there for maybe someone that's been doing it for lots of years?
I left this kind of more towards the new person here, honestly, but I think there's a nugget in here for everyone. I think I think there are nuggets that will help anyone really be able to, figure out how to speak to their committee, how to use that information to say, hey, maybe we should try it this way this time. I think there are going to be some people who read the book and go, I don't want to do it like that. And that's okay. It's not an expectation. It's just, I'm sharing the framework for the things that worked well for me in my past, I will say it, 20 years of auctioneering. So, I've seen a lot of things. I mean, there's some things that are so simple. There's just a little stuff. Now, let's see. I'm going to just give you for an instance here.
Give me for instance. I want to
For instance, little things like the silent auction, which I'm not a huge fan of silent auctions anymore, but I will tell you, if you're going to have one, stop putting all your tables around the edge of the room. Don't do that. That pushes everyone away from each other. Put them in the middle so everyone joins together in the center. Those little things that people, I think, miss sometimes. Just as a new person, your instinct is to push everything out. And I think sometimes just putting it in the middle, not only does it draws people through your event, and then the bar's way on the outside corners, right? To draw them through. But I think that's something, it's a tiny little thing that makes a big difference. Now, you'll love this. You two will love this. I called that chapter Boozy and the Beast.
Oh,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's totally true. Silent auctions are a big, huge beast of work, right? It's so much work to do. So a lot of people are eliminating them. So if you're not doing a silent auction, skip that chapter or read it for fun, because it is kind of a fun chapter. But you can skip it too.
Well, no, I think it's a giant concept that is the fundraising auction. I mean, there's so many, like you say, components that are coming into that. One component is the silent auction.
Yeah.
Another big component, I mean, you have your live auction, you have your paddle raise that are, kind of built within there. Question for you, and this may be basic, do you advertise values on the live auction items?
I don't.
Why not?
But is this all in the book?
That some of it is, yeah.
Boozy and the Beast is in the
oh
book.
Yeah, Boozy and the Beast is a whole chapter. Yeah, it's in there.
Sorry,
it's in there. I don't advertise unless there's one exception. I don't advertise live auction prices, and the reason being is because for me, I think it creates a bidding ceiling.
It does.
Okay.
Yep.
So oftentimes when I have the prices listed, I find that people will there's that auction word, right? So everyone goes, auctions are for bargains. No, they're not. Not benefit auctions. The other ones that we talked about before, where everyone's making all the money, are for those maybe for bargains. I don't know. Yeah. But benefit auctions are to raise money for a worthy organization. So when we put that number in there, people tend to decide that, I don't really want to spend that much. I want to try and get it for a deal. And I'm not interested in deals for nonprofits. I'm interested in raising big bucks for nonprofits. So I don't put the values in. That's my 2 cents. But I will for things like art that is so subjective. That's such a difficult topic. So like if you've got a bronze sculpture in your pack, one of your packages, I'm going to say maybe it would be a good idea to put a price tag on that, because I don't know what that's worth otherwise. I might think, a nice, beautiful bronze statue worth like $3,000 and it's really worth $25,000. I don't know these things. Yeah. So for those kinds of things, I will sometimes put in a price. But the good news is your auctioneer should always have your values and know the prices, and they can let the audience know during the auction we're at half price, friends. So
thank you for reaffirming my my ideas on that. And I saw it happen, and I don't, maybe because they didn't read the book, that there was values on the live auction items. I was leaving and I'm like, why did these items like stop right here? And I get out and I see, I'm like, that's why. And sometimes it's the sign designer or whomever's in charge of that. It's like pumping through. We're gonna get these done.
There's a couple platforms. There's a couple platforms that you just have to put it in. And so then they just go to print from that, and they don't take the step to remove it. And there's a couple of questions in there, and it's not the fault of the platform. It's just that's how they run their programs. And sometimes it gets missed. It just goes straight to print or something, and it just gets missed. I just had an event where the program had all of the silent auction items listed as live auction items, and vice versa. Oh, it was confusing.
So we're having a silent auction live and a live auction silently.
Yeah. I was like, well, silent auctions are an oxymoron. So, it's cool, whatever. I was like, you'll figure it.
Yeah. Well, my whole point with this was to give some basics to the people who are new, because I wanted to think of it as like a stepping stone for those folks who can't work with us. They don't either have the budget sometimes, or they don't have, or we're booked, which is the other thing. Yeah, we're either booked or they don't have the budget. But this is like a great stepping stone to get there, so that you can actually, you know, maybe work with that consultant the next year. But I try to keep it playful. You know, I like fun. So I tried to keep it playful.
Right, it's right there. FUN.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be fun.
Fun.
Yeah, this is supposed to be fun.
It is supposed to be fun. And so
like, I'm going to send these to all of my clients right now. Like, you know, we're ordering a whole bunch, sending a whole bunch out.
We're going to buy a case.
The link is going to be on our site for you to buy it. I know, Kelly, where are they going to find it from you? I know Amazon, but
it will be on Amazon. It'll be on artisanauctions.com as well. You'll be able to go to the Artisan Auctions page, and there will be a little tab up there that says book. And you can click on that, and it'll just send you right straight through to Amazon too.
You know what? If you're listening to this episode or watching this episode, you will know where you can find this. There's lots of ways.
Okay, but also like they're driving in their car and they're practicing being a limo driver, and they're gonna need to remember later Artisan Auctions, Kelly Russell.
Not to worry, Aaron. They're going to quickly jet off on the exit, quickly purchase, and then get back on the highway again. It's perfect.
You can go, Alexa, order the book on fundraising.
Or they're in the Tesla who's driving itself, and they're like, order. Okay, we've gone way off here.
Oh, we've gone on a tangent, friends. That's a good one.
I am so proud of you doing this, Kelly. Writing a book is no small feat, and harnessing the amount of information that you have. And so Kelly and I have known each other for a really stinking long time, longer than you and I have known each other. And
it's been fun.
It has been fun. It has been. And we've watched each other just really fangirl. Like, we fangirl each other very hard. And like, we're always like, oh, she's doing this great thing. And that is one of the things I value. Kelly and I have come from the same model of, it's not competition. It's really never been competition. It's always been encouragement and watching each other, because the boats both have been rising. The world has been rising with us. And I'm very proud of all of the work you do, how you share this work, and putting it together in a book is just, you know, I know I don't want to get all choked up in email, but I know that your mentor up in heaven is probably crying her eyes out and so proud of you.
It was her birthday the other day.
I know it was. And so I'm proud of you also. And this is really beautiful. And I hope you all the success in this book and all that you do, because it is so awesome. Keep going. And DC is not that far from New York. So when you're coming up to visit us,
I need to swing by sometime soon. You know, I can't echo that enough for you, Aaron. Honestly, you know, it's been so much fun to watch. It's been fun to watch you in your career, and Bobby D in his career as well. I mean, you came from a different world, and kind of came into the fundraising world by storm, and we all went, oh, hey, Bobby D. So
that guy.
Like, who's that guy? But he's fun. We like him. So it's been a delight over the years to get to know y'all more, and to be able to work together, because it's true. I mean, we get the opportunity to get together and chat often, which I love, because y'all do stuff that I wouldn't do. And I mean, it's just fun. It's fun to see what everyone else is doing. But I like follow you all on social media all the time, and which is another place, you know, if you're looking, you can go on social media and get the book. It'll be all over the place, I'm sure, for a little while, hopefully. And I hope that it just brings something of extra help for folks. I also think it'll be great for some auctioneers who are just getting started, you know, that can really, elevate their game too, because again, we should all give a hand up, right? You know, that's what we're about. And I'm never one to not help anyone. Bobby D, when the pandemic hit, you called me and I was like, hey, what's up? You're like, what are you doing? And I said, we're going to do this.
Kelly and her team were like on the razor front edge of all the virtual stuff. And there was stuff that Kelly was doing like months before we were doing stuff. But you were like such a great proof of concept, because I could be like, look, my friend's doing it and it's working. Let's do this. So
you were hugely helpful.
But that's the thing. It's not me versus you. It's we and the world together can make it a better place. And so I'm always going to be a champion of your alls because you all are doing great, great work. And I watch and I see what you're doing. And I think it's amazing. And I'm going to be a champion of other folks as well, because quite frankly, you know, when we're out there, new auctioneers need the help as well. This will give them some speaking points. Hopefully it'll give them some, you know, funny and playful speaking points to use with their friends. So, and their clients. So that's part of what this is about. It's about helping everyone. At the end of the day, as we've all said, and Aaron already said it once, when the tide comes in, all the boats rise. And that is something that I fully believe. And sometimes we get to be that tide, and it's quite an honor to be that person, to be able to be that tide to lift others. So, and
we've like we said earlier, we've all gotten into this business because we believe the world deserves to be a better place. And this is the way that we can do that. This is using our skill to help the world be a better place. So we know when others are out making the world a better place, that all things are getting better. So it doesn't matter who they are that's out there doing it. We know that if they're doing better, then the world is getting better.
It's true. That's very true.
That's all I want in the world. Just do better.
Yes.
Do better. Can everyone please do better? We'll do better with you.
Just do better. That's all. That's going to be on a t-shirt, by the way.
It's our upcoming clothing line called Do Better.
Do better.
I like it. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Any last final thoughts you want to leave our audience with here, Kelly?
Y'all are in great hands listening to this podcast with these two. I will say that immediately because they come with an absolute wealth of knowledge. So I know they're going to have lots of people coming into this podcast as the years come along. Hopefully I'll get to come back again and we'll have some more fun.
Oh, absolutely.
But, this was a delight, and I'm so thrilled. I'll just go ahead and say what we said at the beginning. Make sure you get a strategic consultant.
And no. Not just get one. Listen to them. Because it's not enough just to hire them, Kelly. This is where I'm having a big problem right now. People are like, oh, I hired this auctioneer. I paid a lot of money for them. And then they didn't raise a lot of money. Like, did you work with them? Did they do anything besides just show up?
Did you do the homework?
Did you do the work?
You got to do the homework, friends.
Just hiring them. That
has happened to me a bit. Yeah, it's I'm like I've had to ask, like, you hired me to help you, and I'm telling you to do it this way, and you're saying no thanks, I'm going to do it this way anyway. And I go, okay.
It's like paying the money for an auctioneer and then not having a sound system.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's not a good one. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, it's like or like you just not, or like hiring an auctioneer and not having people in the audience. Yeah. Right. Like, just because you hired the auctioneer does not just make the money come.
Yep.
Same thing. Don't hire a sound system and not hire an auctioneer. Like, obviously, like, you need all of the pieces. You need the plate and the food.
Treat it like a business, friends. Your nonprofit is a business. So treat it like a business. And if you're hiring coaches and consultants for your business, utilize their expertise. So yeah, it's really important. You got to do the homework. Do the homework. That's the takeaway here. Do the homework.
Do the homework. Yes. All right. One last plug for the book.
Book On Fundraising Auctions. You can have these people.
Hey, Kelly, I want a signed copy.
I'll send you one.
Listen, if you send me a signed copy, then I want to feedback here, maybe in about a year or so. I want to hear the responses of the book, the questions that came out of the book, your book tour, what people asked you, what things you learned.
This is a long list, Aaron.
I know. Hard questions.
I'll tell you all the things.
Kelly Russell, every time I'm on, I ask the person, what book are you reading right now?
What book am I reading right now? Well, I've been reading this one a lot.
You liar.
Mostly because I've been proofing it. Woo! It's been great. I haven't picked up a new book recently, so I'm in the market for something new to read. What do you got?
You got any favorites? You have a favorite book out there?
Oh man, there's so many to choose from. I don't know.
I
do have a book that I like. I'm going to reach over and grab it because this is one that I recently read.
It doesn't have to be a workbook. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a workbook. It can just be a playbook. Keep going.
It is. It is. Hang on.
I love it. She's getting a book. This is my.
I'm gonna reach over and grab this off my shelf because this is one that I got really excited about. I did an event in Montana, and they invited this gentleman to come and speak. And I love this book because it was one of the last two books I read. But I love the concept. It is called Red Shoes Living. Have you seen this? I feel like you'll love it. Lonnie Main, and it is a beautiful story. And it's a story and it's a way of life, really. It says stand out for the positive in how you work and live your life. And I love this book. I really, really love this book. Lonnie, I got to hear speak at this event, and wow. I mean, wow. The idea behind it is just really, his dad was a wrestler that wore red boots. And so that was his red shoes living. But he always, came out with his tough facade for wrestling, but always came back and said, came backstage and would like have young people back there and just be so kind and calm to them. And, people just really enjoyed meeting him, and he was such a calm, warm, loving human. And so he said he is going to always live his life as if he were wearing those red shoes that his dad wore. So he wears red shoes everywhere. It was really fun when I was sitting with him at a bar and someone gave him red shoes at the bar. They're like, he goes, those are great red shoes. And they said, oh, you should have them, and gave him his red shoes. It was such a touching moment. It was so fun. But it was just really beautiful and wonderful. And it was a really great book, Red Shoes Living by Lonnie Main. I highly recommend that. So get this one and
you
get
never
this one.
know what questions where this question is going to go. I love this answer. Amazing. You've just added 2 books to my Amazon shopping cart. I appreciate that. Amazon appreciates that. And
we appreciate that. Kelly, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I know you were right here at the book launch, and we've kind of got the scoop right here with the author of the book On Fundraising Auctions with Artisan Auctions, the one and the only Kelly Russell. Thanks for being with us.
It's been my absolute delight and pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our fabulous fundraisers that are out there listening and watching. Make sure you do all the things, the likes, the subscribes, the reviews, the 5 stars.
And don't forget. Do better.
Do better.
And do
again,
your
my
homework.
name is Bobby D.
And I'm Erin. Thank you.
We're Heart of the Gala podcast. Thanks again, Kelly. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
My pleasure. Bye.